Hey, um, you know, just another day. Um, go ahead and turn this. Oh, see what I got here. It's kind of winding down the day. Um, Let me respond to this message from my coworker. I don't think it's difficult to just code switching. I think is the term, but I don't mind a little response here and there. But give me 1 second here. Pause this. All right, there we go. Finally done. It sounds like my son, who unfortunately has a double ear infection right now, so he's home and resting with some eardrops. Oh, he sounds really happy. Grandma's been taking great care of him, and I really appreciate that. While I'm able to do work and stuff like making this video, I think it goes a long way to have such a wonderful um, support system in our lives and the lives of our family. It means so much. Right now, I'm listening to a Spotify does this Discover playlist once a week, just so you can kind of get exposed to some new stuff. I always appreciate just the vibes that it brings, and sometimes it's more I mean, obviously it's based off of my tastes and trying to expand those and expose me to new artists. And I think we're always kind of enjoying some new exposures from time to time. And uh I'm a sucker for a good uh instrumental vibe. So it's been really good to just um, hear something new. And so this is my first time kind of getting into it uh, here on Friday. Um, you know, it's been good. Who knows? I'll probably be cut off here in a moment as they are like, "Oh, do you want to listen to Icky Sticky Bubblegum with Miss Rachel?" Um, my son's super into that right now, so. Um, I don't know. This vibe has been really getting to me. I think it's gonna sound weird because I haven't been high in a while, and I don't think that I need to be high in a while. I've been sick, but I think that there's something very nostalgic about the sound of the playlist this week that just reminds me of those hazy days um, where I was just kind of floating through life, and I feel like I'm floating through life right now, just kind of hanging in there. You know, work is piecemeal, and life is piecemeal. I'm just surviving. Um, and sometimes life is like that, where you're just kind of putting it together day by day, and uh, that's okay. It's okay to just put life together moment by moment. And um, my wife, obviously, our son's been sick. I've been sick, and I'm still trying to, stay healthy, and cough drops and lots of water and all the things. But um, sometimes life is just like that, where you're just kind of putting it together. And she was talking about, oh, well, what if we have to cancel? I really don't want to. And it's like, of course we don't want to cancel, but we can't control what's happening today. Or we can't control how our son is on any given moment. Um, and that's really hard. That's really hard for her to manage the future. And you can't manage the future. I think everyone knows that in some level. Like, you can't manage the future. You can't there's no magic spell that you can cast on life to make it the way you want it. And so you just have to kind of deal. And dealing is scary because we're always uh, we're always talking ourselves into um, some future that we're gonna have, or some situation that's gonna magically work itself out in our benefit. And life isn't like that. Life isn't so linear, you know. It doesn't, it does happen one thing after another, but it's nothing you can decide on. You just deal. You just do. And um that's hard for her, and it's not as hard for me because I can't control my son's illnesses. I can't control my illness, I'm immunocompromised. So I'm gonna get sick, and uh, I don't have a say in the matter. And that's fine. I'll deal with how I deal with what comes. And um, yeah, we're just kind of making it happen as we go. And I think that is uh, the dance of life, to make it happen as you go, to compose uh, your the track of your life, um, moment to moment, um, like an instrument. You play what you feel, uh, and maybe it has a little bit of structure to it. I don't play any instruments, but maybe it has some structure to it. But ultimately, we're just kind of we're just trying to figure it out, and that's okay. It's okay to just figure it out. And uh, maybe you learn that the haphazard life is actually is that chaos of day-to-day life is actually like a symphony of all the randomness somehow coming and taking shape. uh and I think that's also really beautiful. Like, I remember in middle school, as listen, I just story time with Zach, apparently. I remember in middle school there was this guy, Terry, and Terry was this squirmy little dude. I don't remember. I don't know what he's doing now. I remember his last name. It's weird what you remember, but he had made this hand like this. It was like a just this like, and we were in art class, and he had made it out of like clay, and he fired it, in the kiln or whatever. He didn't fire it, but the teacher did. And it fell apart, but he had like a pentagram in the hand, and the only thing that was left was like the tips of the fingers and the hand with the pentagram. And it was like this really interesting thing. But like through all the chaos of going into the kiln, this this pentagram poem survived. It was very uh, foreboding. I don't know, like an omen or something. But you put together those things sometimes when you're just seeing things and creating a narrative. And I think that happens a lot when we're trying to control life. We try to create a narrative about how it's going and why it's wrong or why it's right. And to be just free flowing and natural in the face of what ifs and what could be's is actually like kind of a miracle, because we start to see things that we didn't know were possible. And I think about that with life sometimes, with my life as it's unfolded, my career and my relationships and my family and this home that we live in and the city that we live in. And you could never fathom that this is where I'd be. I couldn't fathom it, but it's the beauty of letting life take course and just being a witness to this unfolding majesty every single day. My son, and how amazing he is. And I mean, that kid is just so curious. And you don't, if you try to control something, if you try to make it have a certain way, you, it's like in the Tao, what is the word? You, you, you ruin something that was nearly ripe. I think that's the line. Let's go to the Tao Te Ching. Maybe we can find something, a pearl of wisdom in the Tao. This website's changed a little bit, but that was almost ripe. Yeah. Rushing into action, you fail. Trying to grasp things, you lose them. Forcing a project to completion, you ruin what was almost ripe. And oftentimes, we look at things in our life with this control, and the Tao doesn't, can't be controlled. It is in this, and it is this. It is the material and the immaterial, and it's like illusory. You can't put your finger on it. Like pointing to the moon. If when you point your finger, and you focus on the finger, you miss the moon, because we're trying to quantify something that's not quantifiable. And life is, sure, you can point and name all the things that are part of life, but the totality is what makes it life. Everything is just a thing, but life is life, and there's no controlling that. The Tao Te Ching goes on to say, therefore, the master takes action by letting go, or letting things take their course. He remains as calm at the beginning, at the end as at the beginning. He has nothing, thus has nothing to lose. What he desires is non-desire. What he learns is to unlearn. He simply reminds people of who they have always been. He cares about nothing but the Tao. Thus, he can care for all things. Now, am I a Taoist master? Maybe I am. You don't know. But I think that's the glee of being so so enamored with this life that we live. It depends where you're sitting, right? If you're sitting as the personality, if you're sitting as the one that needs to have it right, the one that needs to have the thing, you can be really lost. And that's where suffering comes from. I don't know if you know that, but that's suffering. To try to control and to try to hold on to the things that come in and out of our lives, that's suffering. That's the way that we suffer. And you can't control things. You can't control the hands of time. You can't control the outcome. You can only work. Work with the clay. Work as things come about. And I guess think of water bending in the Avatar universe, the Last Airbender, not the creature, whatever, James Cameron Avatar. But yeah, you can't control anything. So, it is, it's a beautiful thing. And also, it's a lesson about how life can be this miraculous journey, that you never really understand. And even at the end, you may be wondering, what did I just do? What is this all about? And Um, we don't know. We don't know what this is all about. We've come a long way to no way, to know where. We ultimately are just walking along the path, hoping to figure it out. And there's just nothing. There's no being something. There's just the world as it is, and the world as it always is. It's a miracle, and one that you should sit back and enjoy. It's perfect. I hear you in that thought. There's doubt when I say that, because you know in your own life perfection is a lie. There's no such thing as perfect. But at the same time, I'm asking you to let go of the human experience and realize that perfection in our understanding is not really perfection. We want perfection to mean that there's no pain, but perfection is, I think in my mind, and follow me if you will, perfection is things happening as they are. They unfold in their course based on what's happening, that they are unfolding to perfection. They are unfolding as expected. So when I say perfection and you say, well, there's war, people are killed, they're raped, their homes are taken from them, how can anything be perfect if there are these travesties? And they are unfolding in a way that people are suffering needlessly. But what does that mean? How do we know that all of the things that happen aren't just necessary? They're not fulfilling some purpose that we can't see, because we see with our human hearts pain and we want to stop that pain. But in reality, we're just trying to control again, right? And that's the human being in us. And that doesn't mean that you aren't human. You stop being human, but you should learn to let go of the controlling part of you that wants to define what is good and what is bad. No one says that suffering is good, but we don't know what the suffering brings somebody. You could argue that all the things that we do and all the things that happen to us are bettering us in some way. Now, what does it mean to a person that's raped? How does that make them better? And we don't know. We can't know. It's okay to just not know. It's okay. It's scary. Trust me. I know several people that have been sexually assaulted, that have been raped, that have been abused, and I don't want that for them, but I also don't not want that for them, because I wasn't there. I couldn't stop it, and I can't stop it. I can't control anything. No one can control anything. Gun control. It's not real. Like, control is not real. And it's okay to be scared. It's okay to be concerned. And it's okay to do things to try to make things right in the world. That's fine too. It's your heart, your feeling in your heart that justifies you. It makes you try, and trying is great. trying may be the best thing that we can do. Even though it may be futile, you might try. You might try to fight injustice, tyranny, oligarchy, in the United States today. But what do we do? What do we do in the end? Let me cough. We can't do anything, but we can try. And trying is a worthwhile endeavor. If we have a moment to be an advocate or to be an activist, you should do that. If that's what if that's what's calling to you. But I guess kind of like this music, right? There's a lot of lessons to be learned, because every single person that's written a song that I've listened to today, they had a feeling in their heart. This person's song right now, nobody does it like you. It's okay. I'll find someone else, someone better than yourself. It's not easy letting go, but it only goes to show that no one can steal, yet no one can feel the way you move and fly through the air and all the lights that shine on your hair. Nobody does it like you. Nobody does it like you. This person is writing about something in their heart. They lost somebody broke up with them, ended their relationship, and they had to write this song. I'm just another man in the mirror, they say. This song's called Glass Job by Choke Cherry. Feel your anger boil under my skin. When I fight, you losing is to win. All your lies and all your half-told truths. Yeah, I love you, baby. What's the use? 'Cause I want to fight, don't want to dance with you. I want to fight, don't want to dance with you. Out in the dark, I come alive with you. 'Cause I want to fight, don't want to dance with you. We all have something in us that needs to get out. We all have it. There is some passion that just needs to be released. And that is just as noble, just as worthwhile as any poem that's ever been written, any activist that stands on the street and says Black Lives Matter. There's some justification in someone's heart about something. And it's misguided, perhaps, to say like, oh, well, all right, all lives matter. Like, listen, we've heard it time and time again. And somewhere in their mind, they don't want to be discounted. They don't want to be forgotten or marginalized. And I know that somewhere in every single one of these people that have a message that they want to spread, there's fear, there's doubt, there's a lonesome heart waiting to be comforted. And we're scared of things we don't really understand. And we want to be comforted. And maybe our only way to do that is to destroy the things that we know right now, to be able to fix that. And maybe the only way is to live so excessively that we can finally let go, enough of our current situation. It's a world of fear, and it's a world of uncertainty. And when I say things are perfect, maybe if you live in that world of fear, you don't see the perfection, the equilibrium. It's like equilibrium. It's like if there's too much of one thing in the world, the pressure of the other thing wants to, slam it down. It wants to, there's too much diversity. We need to make it, not diverse. Whatever, like it's a scary world if you live in the world that's, of polarities. And life as a personality is polarity after polarity. You are a walking polarity. You wear it, you live it, you are it, you're fighting it. It is it's like going underwater. You feel the pressure when you're under the water, right? You feel the pressure of the water on you. And if you went to the bottom of the ocean, you would feel the whole weight of the ocean on you. And we're, this one atmosphere of Earth that we feel always on top of us. Yeah, you don't even see it because it's so ingrained in your being, that we are always feeling these pressures, and we're always living with the pushback. And there was something Ram Dass talks about this spiritual environment, this environment that you create with your being. And I had written parts of a book. Who knows where it'll go, or if it'll ever come back. But the primary part that I started to experiment with. All right, this song's done. So 5 minutes of that song. My goodness. But the primary thing that I started to explore was just how powerful it is when you can be in an environment that doesn't force someone to be a certain way, doesn't have this do this so I can do, so I can be this for you, like a reciprocal. You don't have to reciprocate with me, because I'm just here, and I'm gonna watch you be you. And oh, that's nice, it's a lot to take in, like what I'm talking about here. And I guess maybe I'm in a place now in my life and in my thought process where I just think about this, and I think about how powerful it is to be that type of environment. And it's a place of calm and just receptiveness. And it's like I said in the last video that I recorded, it takes a really long time to come to that place, and you're tested time and time again. And so that how receptive you are, how open you are to these changes, the variety of changes that people can and are, is so fluid that one moment you may be that receptive environment, and the next moment you may be closed down because of just this, that bothers me. But everything that bothers you is something about you that bothers you. It's something about you that you can't conform with, and so you fight against it. That was I don't remember the name of the guy, Noah something, on Twitter. Yeah. Anyway, everything that bothers you is something about you. We're projecting, projecting these problems into the world. We're human projectors. We are humans, but we're projectors of our problems, of our issues, of our concerns and doubts and fears. But again, it comes back to not knowing. And if you were acquainted enough with things that you could see past the doubts and see into like the soul behind that. Just to touch, put your hand on their chest and not be scared, not to be fearful of what you don't know, but just to love it. You know, I just feel myself holding the hand of every person that's scared right now. And I have butterflies because it's so real. You know, there's someone that's really scared right now. Maybe you're watching this video and you don't know how to put it into words, or you don't know how to be yourself because you're not sure if the world can accept you. But you can, and life is beautiful, and someone understands. And if no one understands, then I understand, because we can be together in this space. You don't have to be scared anymore. You don't have to be fearful that you're going to be persecuted for who you are, because that's who you are. And we can explore that. You can sit in your contentment. I wish you knew how perfect you are. Oh. It's just a camera, but it feels more real than anything. It just feels so real. And this is what reality is. It's like peering through the barriers of our projections and peering through the falsehoods that people create. You don't really know yourself until you sit down and think about how much you love yourself. Like, just take the time. Like, there's a journey going on, and it's every day, and it has nothing to do with your occupation. I mean, this is stuff you do, but it has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with the political culture or the societal norms or your immigration status. It has everything to do with who you are, who you really, really are. And it has nothing to do with race, and it has nothing to do with gender identity. I mean, those are all real parts of our being, and that is just our makeup. But that's not who you are. And it is, but it's not. And we can only really see each other when we peer past these barriers and stop dividing each other. Stop dividing our personal lives into, he doesn't look like me, or he's not from my neighborhood, or she did this thing once and I'm gonna chastise her forever. People can change. People can be better. People can be smarter. People can have more resourcefulness than they ever did before. But it takes time, and we have to sit down with each other. We have to embrace each other as a very, very warm and accepting system. That went deep. But this time for me, this time that I sit here in front of this camera, now I'm definitely posting this, you know. I wasn't going to post yesterday's, but, you know, and who knows? Do I do this every day? Probably not. But I find myself in a space. And I don't need a fucking vape pen, okay, to get me high. I don't. I am so high right now. And it's in my heart. You know, this is what you're supposed to feel like. Like, maybe it's the weed that keeps me from being so free. Because that's not gonna get you free. That's gonna entrap you. That's gonna create the haze. The music is beautiful. and the music is right, and it is so pleasant to just feel. That's all I've got. But like, damn it, man. Just enjoy this. Enjoy this moment to reflect on what this means. What it means to be this thing. What it means to have the autonomy to think through this situation, this life predicament that we find ourselves in. You don't even know the half of it. And if you've been thinking about this stuff, then start writing it down. Just today, I'm gonna share this. I have a Google Doc I've been writing in since 2022, September 20th. It goes like this. I've been writing in it. It's called daily writing. This is just a Google Doc that I have on my Google Drive. And the first entry I ever made, I was going to share this one. I was going to share my most recent one, which was today. I listened to a 3-minute clip of a man named Ed Shin who is narrating his existence in connection with the universe. He looks at a star and is one with the star. They're made of the same stuff. Feeling the contents of the galaxy within his body, he points to his chest. That's who I am. I have that greatness to me, and I do. There's a place beyond that which is named. He literally doesn't think the galaxy is his body. He doesn't identify with the body at all. If you take it all at face value, become disgruntled with the irrational nature of the description, whatever name I may take as the author to this entry will be referenced to a physical manifestation that eats, breathes, and writes named Zach. Who I am beyond the name and form is much deeper, richer, and more meaningful than I could have ever captured and that could ever be captured in words. Similarly, Ed's examination of his self, that is the universe, goes beyond conventions. Ordinarily, we function in convention. Our minds are catalogs of discernment. Prior to speaking about his experience, he expanded on the ways we approach this. I've been saying for quite some time that I'm trying to create language for what I'm experiencing. It's increasingly important. Humans have been trying to capture what it is to be an ever-changing experiencer of life since we could communicate. Now, quote, "There needs to be a transitional language," Ed says, "and we kind of need to have a spiritual encyclopedia that helps us make this transition between this world and the other world." How do you approach creating language for that which is unspeakable? I hope there can be more concerted effort as to a collective progression. With time, we can apply our advanced reasoning skills toward the description of that which we only taste in consciousness. Words point the way, as the Tao Te Ching states. When you look for it, there is nothing to see. When you listen for it, there is nothing to hear. Your attention brings it into knowing, and nothing is beyond you and it because you and it are inseparable. This is the two becoming one, the mental construct of a separate self, which knows that there is no wall between an individual experience and the greater experience. You have experienced this before. Whether it was fully grasped at the time or not is a matter of ripeness. Standing in nature seems to be the best trigger for this realization. Overlooking the Grand Canyon, the ocean, or summiting a peak, there is a spectacle of existing that reaches beyond mere looking, but a communion into nature consummates with the reality. This is it on the scale of your world. Going to Yosemite was a great way to take in the depths. Katie and I took pictures at the top of the hike overlooking the granite formations. To be hundreds of feet above the valley floor as the stretching landscape went on indefinitely in my sight, it was unbelievable. It is an outer world that seems foreign. When you know it finds its origin beyond labels and descriptions, you are it. How else might you capture such a moving expression of that which is all? I just fucking wrote that. I wrote that September 20th, 2022. blowing my mind that this is reality. This is real life. This is the life that we live. And now the entry that I talked about doesn't matter, because this is what we really do. This is who we really are. Is that beautiful soul that wrote that thing is me. I'm just sure I've got this body, but that sentiment is who we are. And all the things that I talked about, all the things that you can be and all the things that you can have and possess and that you put a finger on and you identify with, it's just dressing, okay? It's all just dressing. Fuck yes. This is it. So think about it. Live it. Live this every day. All right. I'm out of here. See you next time.